Okay. So this lecture will take half an hour. Yeah, there are some only 11 slides, and it's a very simple application, which is called L0 sampling. Okay, and L0 sampling, for L0 sampling we will use sparse recovery. Okay, and sparse recovery is an application of count sketch. What is this problem? The problem is as follows: X is given uh, X is given in a streaming fashion. So at the end of the stream, you have a vector X. Initially, X is equal to 0. Okay. So started with X is equal to 0. And at the end, you have some value here. Okay. And some coordinates are 0. Some coordinates have like, some non-zero entries like that. Okay, some are 0, non-zero entries, some could be negative, doesn't matter. Okay. So now, what is the output? What do I'm expecting? I'm expecting the following. I want at the end of the stream, the algorithm should output one coordinate, xi, which is uniformly at random among all the non-zero coordinates of x. So say for example, if at the end of the stream x is 0, 0, 5, 0, 7, 3, then it should output, 1, 2, 3, 3, comma 5, or like, yeah, say 3 with the probability 1 by 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 with the probability 1 by 3, 3, 5, 6 with the probability 1 by 3. So it will output one coordinate, and it should be uniformly at random among the non-zero coordinates. Is that clear? Is the problem definition clear?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So we want to design a streaming algorithm. So we use two powerful hammers, sparse recovery. And the second hammer I will explain you. Okay. So the first hammer is sparse recovery under L2 now. What is sparse recovery under L2 now? Given X in a streaming fraction, like there is a linear sketch, that sketch you could think about, for the time being, a data structure, or like some D times W times D counter values, okay, or like this many counter values, and among those counter values, I will be able to construct a Z such that Z, like the number of coordinates, non-zero coordinates in Z is at most a K, and Z is close to X in the sense, X minus Z is pretty close to what is best you can get among such vectors, which is best in the sense 1 plus epsilon. Okay. And this is the definition of the best vector or the error. Okay. And now let me ask you one question. Suppose my X contain only k non-zero coordinates, at most k non-zero coordinates, then how do you solve L0 sampling? Suppose I gave you a guarantee that, the input X contains only k non-zero entries, at most k non-zero entries. Okay, that's what happened. Okay, then how do you solve L0 sampling for such X? Is the question clear? I want to do L0 sampling. L0 sampling is like X given in a streaming setting. So I also put another condition. Suppose the number of non-zero entries in X is so tiny, like it's at most K. And I want to do L0 sampling. So at the end, the algorithm should output, one coordinate, which is a non-zero coordinate with a high with a uniform probability among the non-zero coordinates of X. What do you think?
So, sir, is the answer easy if we know in advance that there are only K non-zero coordinates?
You suppose you know in advance there are only K non-zero coordinates.
Okay. So doesn't that become a simple case of reservoir sampling?
No, but you don't know which K, right?
Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah.
But look at this. Can you apply this hammer one, sparse recovery under L2 now?
Yeah, we can.
See, suppose you apply this theorem. What is it? What will be Z?
Z will be the linear sketch.
Yeah, but how can you compare it with X? Okay, what will be the error of it? Suppose this happens, then what is this quantity?
Zero?
Yes. If error of X is 0, then what will happen to this?
Sorry, even that would be 0?
Even that would be 0. If that is 0, what is Z?
It's the same.
It's the same. Okay.
Yeah.
So essentially, if you know in advance X is K, and you will use this much space, your streaming algorithm use this much space, and using such a streaming algorithm, you will completely recover X. Once you completely recover X using this much space, what you can do? You look for in your Z, which are the non-zero coordinates. You toss a coin, or toss a die based on how many coordinates you found there, which are non-zero, and then output one among them. Moreover, you can output a coordinate and its value, say I and xi. This is what you could do, right? And in this problem also, this is what you want, like I and xi. So you can do that. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So so what we do is, when X is K sparse, then Z is equal to X, so we can identify. Okay. So the point is, like, X is updated in a turnstile fashion, and let J be the non-zero indices of X. So we have two cases, right? When J is small. Okay. So it depends on that, right? When J is small, say J is less than or equal to S, assume that S is a constant, or S is log n or something, log n or constant, something like that. Then with only this much space, polylog n space, you can completely recover X, and then you can among that you can look at all the non-zero entries in X, and then uniformly at random among such coordinates, you output 1. So when J is small, then things are okay, fine, good, great. And the interesting case is like S polylogan. If S is logan, you can do things very easily. The interesting case is J is large. Okay. Now here we are going to do a trick, and that trick is quite common in CS. Okay. A common trick in computer science. That's what we are going to do. Okay. When J is large. Okay. Okay. Now here is like maybe like I will give you 2 minutes to answer this. Okay, so you can think. Suppose I have X in which this is equal to n by 2, or like take it 0.9n. Okay, 9n or n by 2. Like it's a constant fraction of n, very large. Like so many places I have non-zero, and in some places I have 0. The number of places I have 0 is, at most, say for the ease of your argument, let's say n by 2 location you have non-zero, and n by 2 location you have 0. Okay. Now, suppose I want to use sparse recovery to solve my L0 sampling. How can you do that? I will give you 1 minute, then I will tell you the answer.
Can you repeat the question? Just one more time.
The question is like X, it is given in a streaming fashion, right? At the end of the stream, I guarantee you the following. In the half of the coordinates in X are non-zero, and half of the coordinates are 0. Okay? Half of the coordinates are non-zero and half of the coordinates are 0. And then I want to do L0 sampling. Okay, so or like at the end of the stream, I want to give you it should forget about the uniformly at random from the non-zero coordinates. At the end of the stream, give me one coordinate which is non-zero. Okay, so this is the question. You can use whatever we have seen, say sparse recovery plus something else to solve that. Okay? How can you do that? You know many powerful tools, powerful symbol tools. So the one of the tool is sampling. Now can you say? Can you do sampling to solve this problem? Is the question clear?
Yes, sir. I'm thinking about it, sir. Yeah.
So suppose you want to use the S sparse recovery where S is a constant. What you can do? Okay, because of the time, maybe I will tell now. The idea is, suppose you sample 100 locations, 100 indices uniformly at random. Okay? Say it will give you indices I1, I2, etc. up to I100. What is the probability that all of them is 0? xi1, xi2, xi100, all of them 0? What is this probability?
Each being non-zero is 9/2. Sorry, 1/2.
Each being 0, everything is 0. Again 1/2 to the 100, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So with probability at least 1 minus 2 to the 100, 1/2 to the 100, which is like much more than 99%, right? With this much probability, what happened? At least one of them is non-zero. Correct? At least one. With this much probability. Correct? And
Yes,
then, suppose you construct a vector which is y is equal to, like wherever, if I1 comes, like, so here, see yj, okay, yj equal to 0 if j does not belonging to these 100 indices, say call it capital I, and y equal to xj if j in I. Can you recover y? Can you recover y in a streaming session?
yeah.
You can recover
Yeah.
y in a streaming fashion, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
in y there are only 100 non-zero entries. And how can you recover y in a streaming fashion? Whenever some entries comes, like in x, like the stream corresponding to x, if something is not in I, you just forget it. You know that it is going to be 0 anyway at the end. Like, so you don't update any of your counters. If something comes in I, you update your counter, right? So you can
Yes.
recover it. So the point
Yeah.
is, if you know that there are like a constant fraction of them, like, see, if there are very tiny number of non-zero entries, you could use sparse recovery. If there are so many one entries, you can do random sampling and then sparse recovery. And what happens if it is in the middle? That is the trick we are going to see now. Okay. It's very simple. Okay. Let j is equal to, like, so you are going to construct log n vectors, and each of these log n vectors is similar to the way we constructed the y above. Okay. So I will tell you how to construct ij, where j is a number between 0 and log n. Okay. Each index I is added to ij with probability 1/2 to the j. So you see, I have yj here, x here. How do I construct yj? Like, how do I construct entries in y to the power j? Look at the first index, and then you just toss a coin which shows head with probability 1/2 to the j. If that happens, you say that, okay, yj1 is equal to x1. Okay. And if the second coin toss is tail, that happens with probability 1 minus 1/2 to the j, you put 0. Keep doing it. Okay. This is how you construct yj. So you will construct y1, y2, etc. up to yj. Okay. So these are the vectors. So you can think that your streaming algorithm is you are running you know, like K parallel, like, you know, what do I mean by? You're going to do log n parallel streaming algorithms, one for Yj. And for each j, use S path recovery for Yj. Okay. And if there exists a j such that Yj is S path, then you output 1, otherwise you output fail. Okay. So the idea is as follows. See, what is y0? Y0 is equal to x. And y1 will have roughly half the vectors, right? One from each of them. And y2 will be roughly 1/4 of the vectors, which is one from the remaining. Okay. And the point is, like, if it is too tiny, like in y1, you are going to hit it. If too much large in some one of the vector, you are going to hit it. Okay. So now choose S to be this quantity, log 1 by delta. And work delta to be, you choose 1 by n to the c, so that the probability is very tiny for some constant c. And then what is the space usage? The space usage is S path recovery you are using. So polylog n, you know, like polylog n counters you will be using for each of them, trying to recover each of the Yj. And you try to recover like how many such Yjs? Log n Yjs. And if one of them is sparse, you are going to output it. Okay. So will the algorithm output like so? So the idea is, suppose the number of coordinates in J is at most S, where you substitute S to be this quantity, log n to the c for some constancy. Then definitely, you know, in the first vector itself, you will see that it is K path, it is S path, and one of the coordinates you can output. With the high probability, it is good, right? And and then so that is done. And suppose J is greater than S. Okay. Then what we say? There exists an index K such that with the probability 1 minus delta, Yk is S path and has at least one non-zero coordinate. Okay. Now see that. Okay. What is the expected number of, like, the proof of it? Look at Yj. In Yj, every element is included with probability 1 by 2 to the j. Okay. And what is the expected number of non-zero coordinates you included in Yj? Is cardinality of j divided by 2 to the j by the random process. Okay. Now what you can do is, you choose k to be the index such that the expected number, this number, is between S by 4 and S by 2. Okay. So initially when j equal to 0, the expected number is cardinality of j, and that is more than S. Okay. When j is equal to 1, then you will get mod j by 2, mod j by 4, mod j by 8, like that. At some point you will reach in this interval. What does it mean? Look at y to the k. In y to the k, at least S by 4 non-zero coordinate and at most S by 4 non-zero coordinate. Correct? Agree? Is that fine?
No, sir. Can you repeat that?
Okay. Suppose, you know, cardinality of j is less than S, that is handled by, you know, y0, which is equal to x. because sparse recovery on X will give you that. Correct? So S is the parameter which we apply sparse recovery. That value is some number which is log 1 by n square, log n, okay? Log n to the C. So when you run sparse recovery S on X, which is equal to Y0, you will extract S if cardinality of J is less than or equal to S. This you agree, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now the case is cardinality of J is more than S. Okay. Now look at the expected number of coordinates from the non-zero coordinate. Expected number of coordinates from J which is included in Yj. That will be how much? Cardinality of J divided by 1 by 2 to the J. See, each element, each coordinate, you say that, okay, for the coordinate xi, whether Yj of I is equal to xi, I will decide with probability 1 by 2 to the J. So there are cardinality of J many non-zero coordinates. So in expectation, how many coordinates you select from that mod J coordinates? It is 1 by 2 to the J times cardinality of J. You agree?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So among the non-zero coordinates, in expectation, Yj contain mod J divided by 2 to the J coordinates. For the remaining, you set to 0, right? So you will take out from X mod J divided by 2 to the J, like that non-zero coordinates in Yj, like that you will preserve. Okay. So when J is more than S, and what is J divided by 2 to the C? So J divided by 2. So in Yj, how many non-zero in expectation? So in expectation, Y0 contains mod J coordinates of the set of non-zero coordinate, set of non-zero coordinates of X. Okay. And how many Y1 will contain? Mod J by 2. How many Y2 will contain? Mod J by 4. How many Y3 will contain? Mod J by 8. You agree with this argument?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So yes is more than cardinality of J. So there will be some K for which mod J divided by 2 to the K is actually between S by 4 and S by 2.
Yeah, I get it now. Yeah.
Okay. So let that be the coordinate K. Okay. Now what you can do is, now by applying Chernoff bound, you can say that, so the expected number is between S by 4 and S by 2. And by Chernoff bound, you will say that with a high probability, the number of coordinates is between S by 4 and S by 2 is very large. With a high probability, the number of non-zero coordinates is, say more than S by 8 and less than say S. You can say this. You apply Chernoff bound, like you need to do the analysis. See, expectation comes between S by 4 and S by 2. Now, in your random process, what is the probability that, the X goes 2 times your expectation or X goes less than half your expectation is bounded by, some tiny probability by using Chernoff bound. Okay. So that you do your calculation by yourself. But what I want to say is, with a high probability, the number of non-zero coordinates just bend into Yk is between S by 4 and S by 2. Okay. And then that's it. Okay. If with a high probability, what does this mean? What does this mean? Yk is yes sparse with a high probability. With a high probability. Agree?
Yes.
Okay. So Yk is yes sparse with a high probability. So look at your parallel repetition, like log and execution of the S sparse recovery, one for Y0, second for Y1, third for Y3, and one of them is for Yk, and what you will get? Yk itself. Correct? So S sparse recovery of Yk will reconstruct it exactly. So Yk has a random sample of coordinates of X and hence has a random sample of non-zero coordinates as well. So what you do, among Yk, you randomly pick one non-zero coordinate and output it. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what the algorithm does. Okay. Now here there is a tiny problem here. So I will take 5 minutes to explain that. Okay. I need to remember these random bits ij. So I want to look how you do this sparse recovery. To do this sparse recovery, you are going to use count sketch. To use the count sketch, you are going to do count sketch for Yj. And how you constructed Yj, initially you tossed, the coins and you get some indices, and for those indices, you are expecting it to be updated by the stream, and something which you didn't show up in those index set, you are going to keep them as 0. This is the process. But to do that, I need to remember this Ij, right? But where do I store Ij? And what is the Ij value? Ij could be n size, right? For example, look at Y0. For Y0, Ij equal to n. Sorry, I0 is n. Okay. Say for example, for I1, what is the size of I1 in expectation? It is n by 2. So you need to remember which all these indices. And to remember that, you need to store it somewhere. To store it somewhere, you need to have how many bits? At least, Ij many bits, right? And so the space complexity, even though for all these portions, we will take only polylog n, this will take much space. Is that correct?
Yeah, we need to store that. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to store that. But what is the property of Ij? The property of Ij is it's a random. It is very random. It's randomly generated indices. Okay, so we cannot store this random bit, but there is something called pseudo random generator. Okay, so we can use Nissan pseudo random generator where we don't explicitly store Ij, but as like we did in the streaming algorithm, there is some data structure which has only few bits of information, but I can query, is the J prime belonging to Ij? That I can query, and it will store these things in a data structure in such a way that that is random number. And anytime I say, like I ask, is J prime in Ij? It will say yes. If it say yes, later also it is going to say yes. If it say no now, it is going to say later also no. Because the random bits are fixed and it is going to store it in a nice, like because of this is random, it can have like a small, data structure from which we can query. And so this is not in all the cases. It is not possible in all the cases, but in a space bounded computation that is possible. Okay. So here is a theorem. It is a hammer. You just take it as a theorem and then we use it. Okay. Suppose there is a randomized algorithm, okay, it uses R random bits, okay, and it uses at most S of n space. Okay, it's a randomized algorithm. It doesn't talk about even streaming algorithm. It's just a randomized algorithm. Input length is n. It uses S of n space, and it uses R random bits. Okay, then one can come up with a new randomized algorithm that fools A. What do I mean by fools A? Like there is a randomized algorithm A prime, and it has a seed length of order S of n log n. What do I mean by seed length of order S of n log n? There is a data structure that uses this many bits, and this will give you your random number. Like you ask any number, like, so give me the jth bit in R, you just ask to this data structure, it will give you that jth bit in R. Okay. And then the algorithm uses order Q space. Previously it was using S of n space. Now it was using S of n log n space. Okay, S of n log n space. So order Q space. And poly Q time. Like the time taken is poly Q. And then it does same as A. Like if you are going to give the input something, like say some input, and what is the output you expect from A? The same output you can expect from A prime. And what is the property? Instead of using that R random bits, probably you use the N random bits. It will have a data structure which is constructed, which is a pseudo random generator whose seed length is order S of n log n, which means that you can assume that there is a data structure of that many bits where you can actually, query like the random bits for R, and using that, like you can simulate what A does, and where the space usage is order Q and time is polynomial in Q. So now look at your previous streaming algorithm. Here it uses this as the random bits, and the space usage is poly log n other than this random bits. Okay, and it does something. So you replace this with Nissan's pseudo random generator, and then what you will get is, instead of R, you use this order S of n log n. What is order S of n? S of n is poly log n. So poly log n log n, that is again poly log n. In that much seed length, so only that many bits you need to use it, and seed length is that much, and the space usage is also this much, time is also bounded by polynomial in Q, and you can simulate A. So because of that, you apply this black box or like this hammer to your previous algorithm, and you could say that, okay, I don't have to store these things. Instead of storing that, all these ij's, I can have a seed set of size poly log n. From that, I will get ij anyway by querying, and that's it. Apply that to your algorithm and you get it. And that's it. Okay. So now another thing you can think about it is the count sketch is a linear sketch. A linear sketch. Okay. It will come later. Okay. Like you might know, like, so what do I mean by that? In the count sketch, what you are computing? W times D counters. Okay. Now, these counter values, you can think it as there is a matrix M, and the counter is actually MX. Okay. And this MX you can update in a streaming fashion. And what is the dimension of M? W times D times N. Okay. So look at the count sketch algorithm. In that count sketch algorithm, I can define a matrix M whose dimension is W times D times N. And what is your D times N counter? Sorry, W times D counters? It is actually M times X. And this M times X, initially it is M times 0, which is all zeros. These are your count, the values stored in the counter. And when things get added or subtracted, whatever, whenever token comes, this vector get updated. This vector get updated means you are going to do update here. And that is what the definition of linear sketch. Like you are going to do a linear operation. Linear operation by, what do I mean by? You just multiply with a matrix M, and input is X. This input X is changing it like when each token comes. Okay. And so you can think about how you can convert, how you can define M for a count sketch. This is very easy. It's a very simple, simple argument. You can think about how you can define M. So what is the output of MX? MX is actually your counter values. C1 of 1, C1 of 2, C1 of 3, etc. And then C2 of 1, C2 of 3, like that. That vector will be that. Okay. So you can think about that, because this term will be maybe used when you will apply L0 sampling for graph streaming algorithms. So this is a linear sketch. Okay. So this is a sketch you understood because it stores like some like WD counter values. From that you are going to get it. Okay. So the count sketch is a linear sketch. In fact, count min is also a linear sketch. And the meaning of that is this. You try to think about yourself about this. And with that, I will stop. Any question? Okay then, bye.